Hey, it just occurred to me, I've been trying to wake you guys up, trying to let you know what's going on. It's the same with honeybees. It's not the varroa mites causing most of the problem. It's the toxic chemicals the crop farmers keep spraying. And I'm getting irritated. You guys don't seem to pick up on what I'm saying. And I come to realize sometimes you don't know you've been fucked until you wake up in the morning. And you guys haven't woken up yet. Like you beekeepers that want to put fondant in your hive. Corn syrup is poisonous to bees. This right here is Domino cane sugar. I have a video on showing how I make this. There's a shim here in the center of the hive. You don't want your bees up here. A lot of beekeepers put their sugar at the top. Do you really want your bees at the top of the hive? You want your queen to lay up here? As much as possible, you want your queen to lay down here. So I try to keep my queen down as low as I can. I put the sugar there. And I go through it early in the morning with a LED flashlight, and I can check the size of the cluster. And for you guys that have been following me for a long time, 120 had a hard time coming into summer. We had a short spring. It was late. They never made any honey for me. As far as I know, it's the same queen. And it's really small. And I will be bringing them in. See how small they are? I have a book that says you should kill queens and small colonies and combine them, but no. I'll bring them in and see if I can get that queen to last another year. I don't know. I just have a hard time killing queens. So I'm going to be putting sugar in here. It's last day of October. We have 2 more weeks of warm weather, then we're supposed to have a very cold winter, polar vortexes and such. I'll show you. Oh, and when you guys run out of gas and you can't find gas at your local gas station, I'm going to be running a team of Huskies. That's my Sasha girl, and this is my Nikolai buddy. He's 6 months old, and she's about 10 months old. I've already trained them by pulling a wagon for me up and down my railroad grade. So I need to go somewhere. I hitch them up to a cart during the summer or a wagon during the summer, and during the winter to a sled. She's going to have puppies in a year or so, and I'm going to have a full-size team. A 10 by 20 shed is just not cutting it. I spent too much time moving stuff out to get to stuff that's behind it. I'm not very efficient. I lose a lot of time and a lot of energy doing this. So what I've done is I started working on a project. I decided the cheapest and most efficient way of getting more room was to connect my garage to the house. After I dig out, that's my cellar there. There's already a wall there. I'm going to dig this out. I'm going to finish it next spring. Put in a block wall. Build a wall on the blocks, in other words the foundation, build some trusses, go all the way over to the wall of my house, move the windows up or over. This is my garage, and this is the best money I've ever spent. I bought a used dump truck, $3,000, and a new Kubota, $16,000, and I tore out part of my garage floor. Again, that's my cellar. And above that, I built a room, insulated it, and I went as far as I could before winter. That's a load-bearing wall. I don't want to mess with that until after winter. If I get snow on that roof, it's going to crash down and destroy the garage. So I'll wait until after winter. I'll prop it up, cut off the post down below, and I'll finish digging this. I'm going to have a ramp outside. I'm going to bring tractor in, bring all this dirt out, get this to where I want it. Put in the footing, do the footing, lay the blocks, and this over here, this right here is going to be another kitchen. I'm doing all my syrup and sugar chunks in the house, and sometimes I need freezer room for frames that have wax moths. That's the best way to get rid of your wax moths. Put them in the freezer. So I need more freezer room, and I want a gas stove in here for cooking. And then there's going to be a door here I'm going to hold off until after winter. And this is going to be my honey extracting room. I've got in-floor heat right here. And the honey extractor is going to go right here somewhere. And there's going to be another door here. So I'm going to have a place to put my medium supers with honey in them. And there's going to be a 7-foot ceilings in here. And then I'm going to have a storage loft because I got too much stuff in my shed. It's going to be a 10 by 12 storage loft, about 2.5 feet high to the ceiling, where I can store stuff because I'm running out of room. You know, I brought home all my colonies a couple of weeks ago, and then I had some colonies that I left here that were smaller than the rest of them. Not a good idea. All my small colonies should have been left away from my large colonies, because this colony here, see, when you have bees trying to get in like that, they're robbers. So the only hole that's left on here is a shim. So when I get robbing, I just shove a screen up in there to keep the robbers out. And I'm not even sure if that colony's any good anymore. What I had planned on doing was, when it gets really cold, I was going to put up an insulated wall right here and insulate both ends, and have real can lights down here through here so I could see with red light. And if a colony got small, too small to handle even the temperatures, it should be warmer in here, I was going to bring them in. But I don't know. It's the hard thing is keeping a small colony through winter. I tried last year with over 100 colonies, and I lost a lot of them. If you make a colony and it's not so small, they can fight off the robbers, then you don't have to worry about it. But when they get small, the robbers take over and they'll wipe that colony out. I lost 17 colonies or 16 colonies last fall from robbing. And so far I haven't lost too many this fall. But again, it's going to be getting cold here in a couple weeks. And this is what's left of my honey. What I did was, all these frames of honey that I've made all summer long, I went through and made sure every hive have honey. Because last winter, what I did, and it was really stupid, was I took the medium away and put in frames of honey in the deep. And a lot of them ran out of honey around the end of December, early January. And the number of colonies that I had in that room, they were stacked on top of each other, 2 tiers, and I couldn't get to them on a daily basis to know what was going on. I had one colony that was a dead out because they ran out of honey, and others that were close to being a dead out that ran out of honey. So last year was kind of a nightmare. I have more large colonies this year than I ever had before. And hopefully I won't have so much trouble, because not very many of my colonies are small. I'll show you something else. Okay, here's another group of hives. I put these shims in a week ago, and I didn't have my sugar ready at the time. So after I do that other group over there with sugar, I gotta go through and do these. But when I went through and I saw the size of the colony, if the colony was small, I went ahead and took away the bottom deep, because there's no point having a lot of extra hive if the bees aren't using it. It just makes it harder to move. And I did have one colony here that lost their queen a few weeks ago, and tried to do a virgin queen in October, and it didn't work out, of course. So what I'm getting at here is, that's north, and there's not a lot of wind block here. So what I'm going to do end of December or January, when it gets really, really cold, we're going to buy some insulation board. Some 4x8, 1-inch thick insulation board, the same insulation I use for my hive covers. I'm going to stick them in here, overlap a few inches to keep the wind from blowing through my hives. Right now I currently have wood in here, but there's still a little bit of a gap. And you got idiots like Vinyl Farm on YouTube super insulating a hive and closing off the top of the hive where the moisture can't get out. I've had hives or honeybees for 9 years during several polar vortexes, and I've seen icicles. The moisture comes out through the hole. I would I would plug this hole up here and just leave this shim. Leave the shim for the air to come out. And leave a little hole down here for air to go up through. It's all about ventilating your hive during winter. You don't want moisture in your hive. It's a bad idea. It condensates and turns into water and gets your bees wet. So Vinyl Farmer's a dumbass. Hey, it's the truth, okay? If you guys are following him, he's got over, I don't know how many subscribers, but most of his videos get 30,000 views. And people are watching him and they're going to be disappointed with the results they have. Super insulating a hive and closing off the top. What a moron. If you can keep the wind from blowing through your hives, you don't want cold air blowing up into your hive and blowing and cooling those bees off. If you keep the air from blowing into the hive, they can keep themselves warm. And this here's a super large colony that still had brood when I was trying to downsize them. I just finished up doing my acetic acid a few days ago. And some of these hives, like this one here, was too much brood. This one here, it didn't have enough honey down here, and at the time I didn't have the time to take frames to put them down, so I'm going to be doing that. This is a brand new colony this year. That's why they look small. The new colonies you have to keep an eye on. They may not have gotten large enough to winter outside. So that's why I'm better than the rest of you. I go through every morning when it's really, really cold, and I will check the size of my cluster. And many times do I find a cluster that's been chilled, they're not moving, and I bring them in and I save their life. If you guys just sit on your ass all fucking winter long, and you expect to have bees left over in the spring, you're not going to have as many left over in the spring as I have. And you know, you guys are getting fucked by the government. But you haven't woken up yet to realize you've been fucked, okay? So that's all I had to say. Thank you.